and the way that you think in Norway, it's not the worst way or the best way. That's just a way that we think, and we are in Portugal. We are sure that that's the way for us to develop, and that's why we think, and we have a huge trust on that way to think. So this was a presentation. Yeah, I will try to present myself a little bit. I worked with the under 15 from Sporting in 2010. I was assistant coach. Then I moved to Norway 2 years ago. So I started to work with Melbo IL. It's a small club, but we achieved good results. So we moved to the 3rd division. And after that, I got a job offer to come a little bit more to the south, to work with Hana IL and with Sandnes Ulf. So I was assistant coach from the B and the junior team from Sandnes Ulf, and I was what you call it, the spillerutvikling in Hana IL. So this presentation is a little bit what we did in Hana, and we presented also that to the coaches. That was what we tried to agree in the beginning with the directors from Hana. So what kind of player do we want, or what kind of player do we want? Because I finished my work there. So both of us agreed that we want a player with a technical quality and good taking decisions. We want a player with quality in terms of tactical and in terms of understanding the game and understanding the positioning on the game. And we want a player with a good physical quality, and when I mean physical quality, is the physical quality oriented to the game, not to run 100 meters in 40 seconds, because for me that's not important. The most important thing is when he has the ball to think in 2 seconds or 1 second. That's what I want. We want players that decides extremely fast and decides better than the others. That's what we are looking for, and that's what we are worried to produce every day. Yeah, according our knowledge and observation about the Norwegian football, especially in the youth players, we found 2 big gaps or 2 big problems in terms of the players. The first one, it's in terms of decisions. So, like I said to my colleagues before, many of the kids are extremely good in terms of technical level. Most of them better than in some players that we have in Sporting, and that's for sure. But when they go to the decisions, so when they have to dribble or when they have to pass, they don't know. And in terms of game organization, because that's why you see many of the games finish with 6-5, 4-5, 8-6, something like that. So there's also a problem in terms of game organization and game understanding. Why? Because the exercises the coach use more often are not in game context. The exercises normally have a closed solution, and I can give you an example. For example, if I'm doing a pass exercise, and we saw that a couple of times, I have a ball here, my colleague is there, I have to make a pass to him, and he has to make a pass for me. First thing, normally that kind of exercises doesn't happen in a match, because normally we have an opponent, and my colleague, we can't do 3 or 4 passes in front, so then we don't go to the goal. And the exercise only have one solution: or I make well the pass, or I miss. So the players are not, we are not working his perception, and we are not working his intelligence, because they don't need to think. It's just, I pass there and it's over. And in the match, the efforts are much more than that. The opponents are in some positions that we have to think more than just to make a pass like that. So that's what we saw. Also another problem, it's what we call in Portugal the PlayStation coaches. And that's also a problem that we have in Portugal in some clubs. So the PlayStation coaches are the coaches that are on the sideline shouting for the kids all the time and say, okay, pass, shoot, pass, everything. So the kids are not thinking, the kids are not enjoying the game, and they are not developing, in our opinion. So in our opinion, our way to teach the kids is to make them take decisions without our help. So they have to find the best solutions, of course with our guidelines, but they have to find the best solutions themselves. How to change that problems? To use exercises with multiple solutions to make the players take the best decisions and to think. How to improve? In terms, so in Portugal we use the conditionated games with an objective. That means that if we want, for example, if we want the kid to don't look to the ball and to look to their colleagues, we just take off the vests and we play, for example, a match 3 against 3 without vests. So they are obligated to move up their heads and to be looking where are the colleagues. That's just a simple example of what we do to promote what we want from the kids. But that's just an example, like I said. Conditionated games. Normally we do small games because our way to think is first we work the one against one, then we go when the 1 against 1 is good, we go to the 2 against 2, 3 against 3, 4 against 4, 5 against 5, 7 against 7, and 11 against 11. So normally with small games. Why? Because they are always playing, touching in the ball, the kids. So we know when they are young, they need to touch many times on the ball to develop. It's an exercise with multiple solutions. We are playing always. We are putting the kids always to play a game, so they have plenty of solutions. According, for example, if my opponent is there, what should I do? If the opponent is there, what should I do? So it's plenty of options to take. They develop basic tactical and tactical competencies in a faster rhythm because, once again, they are touching on the ball many times. They are taking decisions also, and they develop physical competencies associated to the game and not outside the game. So they are working their physical attributes, but oriented to the game. And like I gave an example to my colleagues, to the coaches, if we do a test, if we put a kid working an interval training, I don't know, a simple interval training, and if we put the kid playing 1 against 1 in a small field, you will see the results are the same. But we are working specific, and they are developing the physical attributes inside the game. Yeah, that's our way in Portugal to build up a training plan. So normally, that's for the 7 football. 7 football normally we work always according 4 offensive principles and 4 defensive principles. We move from principle to principle when the kids already know the previous one. So the offensive principles in Portugal are the progression, the offensive cover, the mobility, and the space. Defensive principles: contention, defensive cover, balance, and compactness. Like I said, if we want to have, if we are working the progression, so that's our objective for the training, and then we build the training according to that. Another thing that we have to think it's the second point, but it's the first one because it's extremely important. It's to make sure that all of the kids will be maximum time in the task. So that's why we create small fields with the rules that we want to make sure that they have a maximum time in the task. The exercise should have a point system. That's simple because when you go to the match, you have point system as well. So they have to, the trainings are the reflexes of the match. So we have to create a situation in the training to make sure that they are ready when they go to the match. The exercise should have an opposition because of the same rule. When you go to the match, you have an opposition. So in the training, if we want to make them ready for the match, in the training, they have to have the same situation to pass to the match. And the exercise should have always 2 moments of the game. 2 moments of the game. Normally, we have 4 moments of the game in Portugal, and in some countries they define the same. So offensive organization when we have the ball, or attacking organization. We have defensive organization when we don't have the ball, and we have the transitions. So transition is when we have the ball and we lost. So it's the moment immediately when we lose the ball, what should we do? Or the moment when we win the ball, what should we do? So when we create the exercise should have always 2 moments of the game, because in the match is the same. We have the ball and we lose. What should we do? If we are doing a 2 against 1 situation, the attackers have to score in that goal. And for example, if the defender gets the ball, what should he do? Should the exercise finish there? In the match, the match doesn't stop. So we have to create also a situation for the defender and also a situation for the attackers, because when they lose the ball, they have to close fast and to try to get the ball again. This is an example of an exercise we do a lot, especially in the early ages, 5, 6, 7 years old. It's an exercise to work the progression and the contention, because that's the first principles of the attack and for to the defense. In this case, we can work the dribble, the feints, the shot, the tackle, and the defensive position. It depends from our objective. If we are working the shot, our feedback should be just for the shot or for the dribble or, for example, the defensive position. So if we are working the defensive position in a 1 against 1 situation, we have to give feedback to the defender how to defend. In this kind of exercise, the kids will score a lot of goals, and we know that the small kids, normally the biggest motivation is to score goals. Everybody wants to score goals. If you ask, okay, so we'll be the defender today, no worry. But who wants to be the striker? It's 7 guys to be striker. So it's important in the kids to develop the technical attributes that they will use in the future. And the intensity will be maximum, because they are always playing. Always with the ball or always without the ball, but they have to be there to avoid the goal. That's another one. It's a progression. So, like I told you, in this case, it's a 1 against 1. But when the yellow player, the objective of the yellow player is to score in the goal. If for example, if he loses the ball, he has to recall, or he has to try to get the ball again, because the blue player will try to score in the 2 goals. So we have 2 moments of the game included. He loses the ball, he has to react to try to get the ball. So we are working the principles and we are preparing the player for the match. Yeah, like I said, 2 moments of the game associated, defense and attack. Intensity maximum, just 2 players, always playing. So, intensity maximum. 2 against 2. 2 against 2, but in this case, the 2 yellows are attacking. Sorry. The 2 yellows are attacking, and we create a rule that the team without ball has to have at least 1 keeper. That will make it will be 2 against 1 situation all the time. Because if we have just 1 player and the other on the back, it's 2 against 1, so we are working the 2 against 1 situation. They are taking decisions because they have to decide when to pass, or when to dribble, or when to shoot. Intensity maximum, small field, reduced number of players, so they are with intensity maximum. I don't know if you have any questions until now. No? Okay, so let's little bit. Yeah, so that was the problems that we found in terms of trainings with the coaches, and that was made in Hana, but in Sandnes Ulf was almost the same mistakes. So we saw a waiting line with more than 4 kids, and I remember the first observation that I had with the coach. I was trying to control just 1 kid that was in the line, and he stayed 3 minutes and 17 seconds to shoot, because the coach was there waiting for the ball, and the kid passed the ball to the coach back, and the kid shoots. So it stayed 3 minutes and 17 seconds without the ball. That in an hour training. So it's one thing that if we want the kids to develop, and if we want the kids to improve and to touch many times on the ball, to develop the shot, the pass, the dribble, we have to make sure that they do it a lot in our trainings. Even if we have a big group, okay, no problem, just split it in 2 or 3. So they will repeat many times, and it's essential for their development. Too much time in the transition between exercises, because some coaches like to go to the training and they only organize the next exercise after to finish the other one. So that's it's a difference between some Norwegian coaches and the coaches in Portugal. We like to have everything prepared before the training, so the transition part is extremely fast. The kids only go to drink water, it's half a minute or 1 minute, and then we go to the next station, and everything is prepared for them, so the intensity in the training is extremely high. We saw also too much time lost in instruction and talking with the kids. Yeah, we saw many coaches talking a lot with the boys. Okay, you should do that and open and pass and everything. The best way to make the kids develop is to let them play, let them repeat, and let them make mistakes. It's extremely important, because in our lives we learned a lot by our mistakes. So in football is the same. That's the way that we think. In football is the same. Let them make mistakes, because they will understand. They will remember what they did. Of course, we can make a question. For example, that's what normally we like to use, and not so much to give them the answers. We find the answers from them, because if they answer right, we are sure that they understood what they are doing. So yeah, in this case, in Portugal, we like to let them play a lot. And we saw also exercises with their capacities isolated from the game. That means that they prepared some exercises without ball that didn't represent so much the specificity of football. So we saw a lot of kids just running without the ball, do the what do you call it, the loop, I think. And that's not bad, but we are not being specific, because running with the ball, it's not the same than to be running an interval training. The football is much more specific than that. Like the same example of the passes that I did, that I said the 2 against 2 or pass forward. It's not bad, but it's not specific from the game. And we saw some tactical exercises. The coach said, okay, so the ball is there, we have to move there and there and there. But the kids, if they don't see the ball, if they don't see opponents, they will not pass that idea to the match. That's for sure, and that's proved by some studies in Portugal in terms of football. Yeah, that's a video I will not show today. Or maybe I can show it. It's not working, but it's a Mourinho exercise video explaining his way to work with the kids, and it's a little bit like I said. Yeah. So he said that he prefers to have a smart player than a player who runs like hell. Because the smart player will understand the game and will understand what he wants from the player, and the fast player will just run. So that's not what we are looking for in Portugal. So here I can show a little bit from what I was telling you. So it's one exercise on the top out of the game context and an exercise in game context. So in the first exercise, once again it's the same exercise I was telling you, the pass forward, and then we have a 2 against 1 situation. In both exercises they are working the pass. In this exercise they are being more specific and they are preparing the match. Because they are in the game, a reduced game with 2 against 1, and the offensive team have to score there, and the defensive team, if they lose, the blue ones has to score either 2 goals. So we are working at the same time the pass, but we are also working the decisions. We can work the defensive position with for the blue player, and at the same time the objectives almost from the exercises are the same. Yeah, that's the first exercise. It's what I told you, the big line, and to pass the ball to the coach passes the ball back, and the player shoots to the goal. First thing, in the first exercise, I think the coach doesn't play in the match. So it's, if they would like to do that exercise, they could have, for example, one kid there. So they can pass to the kid pass back, and then he shoots. So the kid is improving at least the control and the pass. In this kind of exercise, we call it normally the line guard, because you have an imaginary line between the cones, and we have a defender there that only can stay in the line. So it's a passive defender. And we have a line of 3-4 going, trying to dribble the defender, and then shoots. So he's working the dribble, he's working the changes of direction, and he's also working the shooting. So in our opinion, is a little bit more complex and a little bit more specific than the other one. And also they are working in terms of, this is a conditioned game, so they are being prepared for the match when they go to the match. Passing a little bit more to the 11 side. This is an exercise that I did plenty of times when I was playing in the north of Norway, and also in Hana I did the same. It's an exercise with 8 against 8 or 9 against 9 or 10 against 10. It depends from how many players you have in the training. And you have one team trying to keep the possession, and you have another team trying to steal the ball. Once again, the exercise is not bad, the exercise is not wrong, but we are not passing our ideas of possession to our players. They are working, of course, the control, the pass. The exercise is 2 touches, so okay, control and pass and movement, that's okay. But when we go to the match, we have another problem. We have positions. So if we have positions, for example, this player in the match, if he's a left back, in this kind of game, next time or after 2 seconds, he can be there. But in the match, if I'm a left back, can I be as a right winger after 2 seconds? No. So this exercise is good, okay, so touches, control, pass, movement, of course, but we are not being specific from what we want in the match. So in this kind of exercise, we are working exactly the same, but we are being specific. So just to explain, in this exercise, the blue team is doing most of the work. So they are organized in a 4-4-2 with the right back, center backs, center mids, strikers and wingers in a 4-4-2 formation. And the yellow team, the objective is to try to steal the ball. The blue team, if they score, if they make 10 passes, it counts 1 goal. And the game doesn't stop, because when we are playing a game, the game doesn't stop. When the yellow team gets the ball, they have to try to score in one of that 3 goals. So that means that the blue team has to close fast the ball holder to try to steal the ball. So we have 2 moments in the exercise. We have offensive organization or attacking organization because we have the ball, and we also have transition because when we lose the ball, we have to react fast as a team and as a block to try to get the ball again and to try to go for the 10 passes. This is a normal game, so after the time we will count how many goals each team has, and then we decide what we do. Normally we like to have a kind of a prize for the loser team, but it depends from each other. Something, but normally we work just with that kind of games. The technical tactical actions that we work with the kids, it's the dribble, the pass and the shot. First the dribble and then the pass. I know that in Norway normally it's the opposite, pass and then dribble, but it's no problem with that. It's just our way to work. It's not bad and not correct. It's just our way. In terms of when they are 7 to 9, and it's a big gap between the ages, because some kids have in Portugal they have lacks of coordination, so we have to work more the offensive principles, and when they know, then we go to the defensive principles. Then we go to the offensive cover and defensive cover. The first one when they are 9 to 11, and when they are 11 we start working the defensive cover. This is a description of the principles. So the progression, what we want them in the beginning, is to understand why they have to attack the defender first and then take decisions, then to pass the ball immediately even if the defender is there. They have to understand that when they have the ball, it's to go to the goal immediately. And then when they have a defender in front of them, they have to take decisions. Or they pass or they dribble according to the opponent's position. In terms of contention, it's the defensive principle. We have a couple of phases that we have to teach them, and sometimes it's not easy. So it takes time to teach the kids that principle. But it's for them to understand that they have to approach fast, they have to reduce the speed, they have to bend the legs, they have to give the sideline, because if we give the sideline they have less options. And if they go to the sideline, I already know that he goes to the sideline, so it's easier for me to steal the ball. And then of course trying to work with the boy for him to understand when to tackle and when to stay. And then offensive principle, defensive principle, always like that, until to reach the 11 aside. Our ideas about what we want for our team to a paper, and it's basically that. So how we want my team to start playing. If I want my team to kick long balls, if I want my team to keep the ball, it's a little bit. It's a personal opinion and a personal view. So each club in Portugal has their own. Yeah. So this was the model of play we had in Hana. So we had the principles in the beginning to try to help the coaches, and then just to show you, this was the formation that all of our teams from the youth played. This represents, this is the same team, is our team. So the yellow team represents when we have the ball, the blue team represents when we don't have the ball. So we have to make big field when we don't have, we have to make small field when we don't have. In terms of offensive organization, the position, what should we do to receive the ball? So in Portugal, we believe that more than to say to the players, okay, I want to play from the goal, I want to play short, or I want to play long, or I want to play, we have to teach them in the training. Because if they don't leave the situation in the training, they will not do it, that's for sure. Even if we are on the sideline shouting like crazies, they will not do it. That's the first point. So we have a couple of movements that we want in our team to promote our team to play from behind, even if we have pressure or not. And I know that in Norway you can't have, in Portugal we can. So we have to prepare our team to try to solve that kind of situation. Yeah, but just to pass fast, this is starting from behind, and then we have defensive organization. What should we do in terms of block, if we want to pressure high, if we want to pressure low. Yeah, and then set pieces. So this is a short one. This is the week plan for the 7 football, and most of the clubs in Portugal are following that plan. So normally we have the match analysis. We start always with a video, preparing from the video that we did in the day before, or in the match before, because we believe that for the kids to watch what they did, it's extremely important for their development. Because sometimes we say, okay, so you did a bad pass, or you were not inside when you were defending. Yeah, but I did. No, you didn't. Yeah. So if you can see what you did, it's extremely important, and it's important for them. It's important to ask them, what do you think? Have you done well here, or have you done not so well? What do you think? And they will understand what we ask, because we ask things that we work in the training, and then they will improve. So yeah, we work a small game. On Thursday we have coordination. We believe that it's extremely important for the kids to develop their coordination, to be faster and to be better in terms of technique. And then we divide the training always by stations. Yeah, the first station is attack against the defense plus the keeper, so can be 1 against 1 plus keeper. Then we have goalkeeper plus attack versus defense plus keeper, a normal game. And then we have one exercise according our way to play and the way that we want to play.